many different ways. On the internet that will be abusive, destructive with TRU in there against your teen, a lot. This is a concern for every parent, and I would want to encourage you that in your loving them, also love them by being careful how you love them with a phone. How do you do that? I don't know. It's a puzzle of modern world. Sometimes some of our teens have got phones that are engines. Phones that we have faster than the computers we had yesterday. I mean, these are powerful computers. The memory, the speed, they are very, very powerful computers. So part of really guiding them in the knowledge is guiding them in how they use the phone. In the years past, parents, we used to insist, I still remember Pastor Gideon as our youth pastor, would insist on, iPod, you remember? The older versions, iPod, cassette recorder, what they would listen to, because they would take those to their bedroom, and you don't know the music they're listening to, you don't know what the speech they're listening to. Now, what we have is much more than an iPod, much more than a cassette player, a disc player. It's much more than that. It's combined all their visual, text, videos, music, all put into one gadget, and a gadget that is so powerful. So as parents, this has become part of our struggle. Now, I can tell you that there's a level of addiction with social media. Maybe you don't believe it. You should look at yourselves, because a lot of us, we are addicted to social media. We just scroll. If you can tell how many hours we spend on social media, you will be shocked. Some of us who are in the workforce, we lose even time at our place. 1 hour gone, 2 hours gone, 30 minutes here, 30 minutes here, 30 minutes, 3 hours gone in a day. Actually, we've even taught our fingers the keyboard without looking at it. It's so strange, because before, the keyboard used to be an actual keyboard on the phone. So you could tell, but this time it's a smart keyboard. I mean, we know where it touches. People can do that, and teenagers can do that. So there's a level of addiction that comes. So parents, we want to challenge you. What does this addiction to the phone do? Number one, it distracts the children. It distracts from things that are essential. For example, school. It distracts the children from school. I do not know the rules that you've put in your home. At times in boarding school, it's far better, because they'll tell them no phone. They will even tell the parents the child should not come with a phone. But when they're coming from home, sometimes they go with phones even at school. And immediately they come home. That is where the child stays. Because everything now is in the phone. You know that even the television is no longer becoming useful in the home. That big box in the house, you come in the sitting room, it is being switched off for 2 weeks. No one has switched on. Why? Because everything is on the phone. Everything is on the phone. The news is on the phone. The chit chat is on the phone. Everything is on the phone. The weapon of mass distraction. Because sometimes for a television, because of color remotes, At least you can be talking to each other. But now with the phone, everyone is in their rooms. Everyone is by themselves, and you do not know what everyone is doing. So the weapon of mass distraction, it distracts. Now, specifically for our children, it distracts them from studying. Distract them. We have also now, we go homeschooling that goes on the internet. So they put, classroom on internet. I mean, how do you do that? So a children is asked by, the school, this homework, you are going to do it on virtual. We are going to do it. So we are giving them the phone again. The same gadget that, we will lead them different places. It's the same gadget we're using. So what boundaries do we keep? What boundaries do we keep? You will notice a lot of you, your parents, even children in the university, they are struggling with social media. Now, here's a 20-some-year child in the university struggling with social media. What do? Do you grab the phone from him? Do you grab the phone from somebody who's 22 years old at the university and they are failing? Because we are hoping by 18 they are now responsible. By 21 we call them an adult. But they are failing. Why? Because they are addicted to the phone. They are addicted to social media. So we have to produce new rules, new guidelines. And some of them you may need to look like you are a villain. Please. But because you know the goal, you are not really a villain. You have just to be tough. And grandmothers, you have to be tough. Sometimes grandmothers, they were tough on their firstborn, and they are very soft on the grandchild. No, on this one, you will have to be tough. It is a weapon of mass distraction. I am telling you, the phone is something that distracts. Why? Essentially because it takes away time for study. It takes away time for study. Every one of us, even as adults, we know how powerful social media has become. How very intrusive it has become. You stay there, it will grab your time. For our children, it is like that. So there is addiction in using the phone. There is addiction in being on social media. So set the rules, set the boundaries very clear for your children. Why? Because these are critical, very, very critical. Very critical. So it distracts from time, but it introduces also wrong values. Because the children go many different places, and sometimes we have no parental guide for those phones. So the children, they are just free to roam from one end to another. They are being introduced to experiences that are bad, to values that are not Christian, to values that are even contrary to what the parents adhere to. So they are being introduced to wrong values. So set boundaries in how the phone is used. It will never be wrong, even if you told your child, this phone is off limits for you Monday to Friday. I'll give it to you on Saturday, even if they come from your home. Pastor, that's too rough. That's what you think is too rough. Until your child becomes so addicted and she becomes distracted. She starts failing on grades. Why at the boarding school they don't go with the phone? Why should you give them the phone? They're still equal students. At the boarding school they don't have. At home they have it. And we think they will pass the grades. They won't. Very, very important. So I said the first one is it takes away time. Number two, it introduces wrong values. Number three, there's addiction of activities that are very bad. We have gambling now on the phones. We have gambling on the phones. When I told, I was preaching yesterday at Kairos. So some men came to join me from ICA, Pastor Jerry and other men, Dr. Mbiala, Kondowe, and Boston. And I was telling them I'm going to be speaking to the parents of the teens because I've been invited by the Contemporary Church. And I said, but I'm also going to speak about the phone because there's a lot of addiction towards gambling. One of the parents says, I says, why are you saying He says, I was invited to go gamble and I put in 100,000. He says, Pastor, I won my first time 400,000 I won. 400,000 I won. Premier bet, 400,000 I won. And I told them immediately I won. I says, I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it again. But he says the following day, the people from the bet company sent me a note and told them, we are going to give you a bonus. We didn't see you again play. This is interesting, you won. In such a way that you win. I think they have set their algorithms, the computation of the game, in such a way that if you're a newcomer, immediately they celebrate you with a big win. And then you start thinking, this is easy. This is easy. So as I said so, Pastor Jerry has been handling one case of addiction. They are not members of our church, but related to our members of our church. Very bad addiction. Because addiction, you can lose your job. You know, you sell your gadgets at the workplace. You know, computer for the workplace sold. You know, I'm telling you, it's so terrible. I've handled people like that. You know, they sell computer, they sell fridges, Galimoto, Pignolo, addiction. And don't even tell me they are men. I'm talking about women. And the persons we are talking about, women. Aviata. I'm telling you, it is because it looks so simple. It looks feminine. You soon appear to casino. You're doing it just in the privacy of your home. And then it bites you like crazy. Then Pastor Jerry says, actually, others, what they do is this. They open an account every time. They don't use one account. Because they have come to realize that it targets new people. So they open this account, they win. They close, they open this account, they win. Why? Because it's targeting newcomers. Now, all our children are naive. You'll be surprised. I also, give service at Magu. We have had students that have been in gambling, girls. And when they do that, they go caterpillar. By the time the parents know, they're in 10 million loss, 30 million. We have had a girl who was in 30 million loss. And caterpillar continues to go like that. She had to be taken to St. John's for rehabilitation. It's very, very terrible. About 3 months ago, a student committed suicide in Chancellor College. That was gambling. So these are not simple issues. It comes from our phone. Chonde, parents, do not be easy with the phone. The phone is dangerous. Into a person who is naive. And our teens are naive mentally. They'll believe everything. They'll believe everything. So work with them. Work with them to demand that the phone is really properly protected. How do you do that? It is you to set up rules and boundaries. And sometimes you'll have to sit together and say, listen, this is a dangerous weapon. This is a dangerous tool. Let's work out the boundaries together. Let's speak. Be open about it. But I'll be honest with you. This has become a very, very destructive weapon. Not only to kids, to every one of us. To every one of us. Gambling, before you used to go to casino to gamble. Now you're doing it in your bedroom. That's how terrible this is. That is how, pervasive is. We were told last year, all gambling companies made 12 billion as profit. In Malawi, I'm not talking about in UK, in Malawi. So what will happen is we'll have people who are not putting time on work, but they're gambling their lives. They're gambling their assets. So when a child is introduced to that lifestyle, I'm telling you, parents, it is very, very destructive because it's addictive. So don't love your child into addiction. Don't love your child into addiction. So make a firm decisions on how that phone is used. And how do you do that? You do that ensure that you have time with them until you win them over. Because during the will be things that are challenging to they themselves. So when we talk about teens, we talk about three groups really. At our church, we've grouped all of them. If you listen to Dr. Zoe, the ones at the far end, the senior teens really are shifting more into the contemporary. So we have three groups. You have the 13 to 14, who are usually called the adolescent teens. Then you have the mid-teens, 15 to 17. And then the senior or the upper teens, 18 to 19. So those are being transitioned into the contemporary service that Kali and his wife are in charge of. Because that one has got really older people, 20 all the way to 35 and beyond. Because the nature of the contemporary we are emphasizing is people who are but because they truly believe that they can continue to support this ministry, we are wanting them even to still come to the third service. So contemporary is fast music, music that is based with the young adults, but we would want people that are young at age, young at mind, to come and just continue to minister. So you'll find these are three groups. We have fairly done well to now to transition them on auditoriums. We are hoping we can put in innovative gadgets to support them, the teens and the children. So we are seriously now shifting to begin. A lot of the regulatory things that we are waiting for now are finished, and we will be beginning to build now. But the idea is that we will give them a place for fun, play, interaction, fellowship in that building. But you come to realize, like I've said, huge changes happen in the early stages of teen, hormonal changes that come with puberty stages that create a lot of bodily and emotional changes. And for every parent that is having a child going through this stage, you are responsible to walk with a child in that stage. In semi-rural settings, you send a person, to cultural groupings where they do a lot of training through this puberty stage, and they have the right, of puberty and passages that they go through with education, with body. But in the modern time and in towns, you may have to take up that responsibility. You become the sole mentor when the child is going through that passage. You become the sole mentor. And whatever other people now give, whatever aunties, uncles give, is extra. But you become in charge to walk with your daughter through that stage. Dr. Natasha is not here. I have said this publicly and never ashamed. When Natasha became of age, I took her for dinner and started talking to her about this process. Took her for dinner. Only me and her, two of us, her dad and the daughter. And my wife, I saw her done her part. But that time when my wife told me this is what has happened, the following day I said, I'm taking you for dinner. We'll celebrate and we'll talk about some of these things that you're going through. I did not want to shy away. That's my responsibility as a parent. Every one of us, we have to walk with our teens. It doesn't matter your ethnic, your racial, your cultural background. Your child deserved to be mentored through the process of the puberty rite of passage. Very, very critical and very, very difficult times. Very, very difficult times. It becomes strange. Am I a child? Am I a teen? They're in between. They're a bat. They don't know are they bathed? Are they a mammal? So they're in between there. And you as a parent, you have to take time to walk with them and give them the Christian blessing. And if you haven't done, your child already went through this, you will have to do some rehearsals with them. You cannot allow, the pop culture to become the teacher. You cannot allow Nollywood, Hollywood to be the teacher. You cannot allow generation from South Africa to be the teacher. You are the teacher. And this is very critical and would challenge you as parents to continually do that. So as a church, we come to collaborate, to help you, to support you, but you are the primary teacher. So part of the teenagers' actions include the tendency to be so private. There will be times when their bodies changes, they will really want to be private. So if it is the father alone and girls, it becomes very problematic. If it's boys versus the mother, it becomes very problematic. Girls to girls, okay. But it becomes, unless you really, really are close to your children, even if they are the opposite sex, then you say a little bit, a few things, and then say, okay, I'm going to bring this person to talk to you much more, or I'm going to bring an uncle to talk to you much more. But they tend to be moody, emotional, and many, many times a deliberate attitude of rebellion. Adibezuanda. It's just some things in the body that is working. And if you remember, you also did the same. You also did the same, So you may be thinking, what has happened to my girl? What has happened to my boy? He's so moody, he's so rebellious. No, it is just a time. They need to walk with you. They need to, actually, this is what we say from the pastoral stage. Your children needs to be born again twice. Now you may be thinking, Pastor, that's not theologically correct. During the children's church, Pastor Matt and Pastor Sarah, they will work very hard together with your support. They will lead the child to Christ. When they reach the teenagers stage and they have gone to boarding school, they come totally different. And you are thinking, what happened to my daughter? Haven't I lost her? But if they continue staying close to the word, they continue staying close to you, is very supportive, they will go through another almost a spiritual awakening. That's why the Bible says, if you give the word, they will not turn away from it, because it will work out for a second, almost second experience for their spiritual experience. Very, very important, because during the adolescent, 15 years, 17 years, they will do some things that they will hide from you. They will hide from you. They will experiment some things, unless you are very, very, very blessed that they are, away from many things. My son, our last born son, Steve, asked me a question. Dad, did you ever drink? Beer, did you ever drink? I looked at him, I smiled, I says, I tasted beer. And he says, when? Where did it happen? And do you know what happened? I was a teenager. I could have been 13, because I became born again at 14, 13, and it was Christmas Day. Christmas Day. So my friends, they take me and they go, make me test beer. Let's rejoice. 12, 13 may be there. But it's my friends that introduced me to beer. I was coming home, I was really, off. So there will be many things your teens may test, may experience, because you're far away from them. You are not God to constantly speak to them. At this time, they are testing things. You pray that they don't. You hope they don't. But if they do, you pray also that you are preparing the word of the Lord close to them and always praying for them so that they can have this second experience. That's why jokingly we said you have to be born again twice. Because when you are at the children's church, at the children's church it's easier to open up as a kid. But during this teenage, they are rebellious because they think they know that a lot of things more than the parents. They have friends whom are their buddies at school. The knowledge there is more important than the knowledge of the parents. The experience there is more important, whatever experience they have at home, and it becomes very, very toxic for them. So you have to remember, teens look to their parents much more than to their, to their friends much more than to their parents. So be prepared to feel as if they are rejecting and rebelling against you. That is important. But also you come to realize that the 17, 18, 19 teens, they start also experiencing greater independence and start showing a lot of understanding on issues of sexuality. At that time, 17, others 16, because we're having also a lot of our teens, they are ending being in the university at 16 years old, which is too early. Parents, it's too early to send their kids 16. So, no, Pastor, it's too early. Hear from a person in education, it's too early. You said kids at 16 to university, it's too early. Now, we want to send a kid to a private school. They are 4 years old. By the time they are reaching 60th year, they are 11 years old. So they add 4 years, they are 15 years old. Even Pandege, to climb on the plane to go to another school outside Africa, they will be regarded a child. They will have to be accompanied or tether them to an air hostess because they are a child. Ordinarily, even in the Northern Hemisphere, university you begin at 18. Come on, we've done fast forward. And because of that, sometimes the experience the kids have at uni, when they're 16 years, they're exposed to many things. 16 years, 17 years, they're exposed. We're so excited. She's progressing. She may be progressing mentally, rather academically, but she's not progressing as an adult. Very, very important. And if you have a teen like that, watch out to support your teen very much. Because there will be experiences she will hide from you that are very deep, that have messed her up very much as a teen, but she hasn't opened up to you. It could be emotional, it could be psychological, it could be bullying that has happened. So walk with them. But between 17 to 19, then they are starting to express their greater independence and understanding issues to do with sexuality. Just like I spoke more about phones, let me speak slightly more about you as a parent to parent them through issues of sex and sexuality. This is another place where you have to take more time to talk about and be blunt on issues on sex and sexuality. Be as blunt as you can be. Set boundaries. Do not allow and, love your child to a place where they are very loose, end up having, partners at an early age that they are not supposed to. Challenge them to remain pure. Challenge them to keep themselves. Challenge them. Tell them. If you've got stories that are bad from your history, use that testimony to challenge them. If the testimony is good from your side, use that testimony to challenge them. Either way, you can use your testimony. Whether it was bad, you can tell them. Whether it was good, you can spin that testimony to challenge your children. This is very important. Very, very important. In the olden age, in the rural setting, it was easy for a girl to get married 16, 17. It was easy. Even our laws are talking about never allow your daughter to get married early. But what we are not doing is never get involved in sexual relationship early. We're just talking about marriage. But we're not talking about even sexual relationships are bad doing early. We are not doing that. We really, really need to set up boundaries. So if you have a teen in those areas, tell them it is an enjoyable thing. It is a great testimony to abstain from this and to remain pure. If you are going to get married when you are pure. You are still a virgin. Whether you're a boy, a virgin. Whether you're a girl, virgin. It is important to score that, to state that very clearly. So don't celebrate when your daughter comes to you at 18 and say, I've got a girlfriend. Don't celebrate. It doesn't matter the parents of that child, their other partner. It doesn't matter how faithful they are, how good they are. It's a wrong timing. Like I've told you, I'm part of the university. So the first year in the university, this is what we say when they have just come first year. First years we tell them, please run away from scavengers. Don't get into a relationship. I stand as a vice, I say, first year in a relationship, you're too young. Second year in a relationship, no. Third year, yes, consider it. Fourth year, consider it. But first, second, it's wrong timing. Wrong timing. Settle in the university, then have a culture of study. Have a culture. Because a lot of, in any university, senior men take advantage of the younger persons that come in. So set your daughter, your son, to have those boundaries that are important. Keep boundaries that insist clear and clean relationships of girls and boys. So if a secondary school child comes to you and says, I'm in a relationship, how will they finish college? How will they finish college? So are we aiming so low that we can allow our daughter, just when they are actually they are in A levels, they start a relationship? What are we saying? Are they going to get married in the next 3 years? So they will jinx the college and get married? Or are they going to get married after college? Now, if they are going to get married after college, here is an issue. A long courtship is dangerous. Your daughter will be sleeping with this boy. This boy will be sleeping, and they are going to destroy each other. Number one, their conscience is going to be dented. And then number two, they are going to start having diseases. Number three, there will be possibility of abortions, many of them. And number four, a long courtship usually breaks. There are very few people that will keep a courtship of 4 years, 5 years, clean, and get married at the end. Usually they come to know each other so much, they have slept with each other so much, this person is a wasted bag. Then they say, the cup is a winner. So let's challenge our daughters and our boys never to get into any relationship. If a boy comes at 19 and say, he has just finished secondary school, won't he do college? Even if he says, I'm not going to be in college, I'm not a college material, I'm going to do business, let them stagger it. Let them stagger it. Let them settle. See things that will show there is growth. There is an adult here. 23, 24, they can be able to create their own money. They can be able to think their future well. They can be able to do plans. Then you can be able to support them. But do not support a 17-year-old girl, boy, to start a relationship. But do not be also a villain in talking to them about it. Just sit. Come on, my daughter, let's sit. Let's have coffee together. And then talk. Let her be open. You be open. Because sometimes we use, fear mongering. Oh, there was a daddy too. There was a daddy. Uncle, when he comes, he's going to whip, demons out of you. No, it has nothing to do with that. It has to be, this is the right way to do. And these are reasons, and these are good reasons. These are bad reasons. So you'll be able to demonstrate this to them. So quickly as I bring 4 ways in which you can invest. This is according to Pastor Christine. 4 ways in which you can invest in your teenage. Number one, love them. Teenagers need love. So despite, the cool and distant image they show you that you don't matter, they still need your care and attention. Love them. So Pastor Christine goes through a whole section in how you demonstrate love to your teen. The second one is teenagers need acceptance. Now, in today's age, it's very, very difficult because we are pro-image. If you have a teenager who is a girl and her body is totally different, whether she is not well received at the public arena, she may go through a lot of psychological torture. There are actually mental health diseases because of image. Others, if they want to have a petite body because of whatever they see in movies, and because you've never affirmed them, you've never accepted them, they will do things that are drastic. They will be insisting to puke. They'll be insisting to, whatever they eat, they don't want to put it inside. Because they want to have that body like a model. Thank God now we've started having different images for models. It's not only those wires. Now we are having different models that are coming out. Maybe we will start now having health understanding of a model. But your daughter may go through that. So be aware. There could be, a person in the school that always talks about fashion, talks about image, and they push pressure on your daughter. When they come home, they will hide that. They will never talk about it. But affirm them, accept them. They want to know they are accepted and loved. Accept their image, accept their body. It doesn't matter. Girls are more prone to this as compared to the boys. So if you have a teenage girl, show acceptance, show affirmation. Because if they have got a bigger body, they will be sometimes tormented. They will be thought of. They will be ridiculed. You will have to work with your daughter. Be sensitive to those things. Affirm their good actions. That's why affirmation is good for anyone, more so to children. When we affirm children, we reinforce a process of training them. Affirm them. Then the fourth one, teenagers need respect. Teenagers need respect. Again, because they are growing body-wise, they would want you to show that they have boundaries. So affirm that. Show them that you respect. And again, affirm it. If you want me to respect you, respect yourself also. Be able to give them boundaries, social distance. If you are privileged that they have got their own bedroom, respect. But still go inspect the bedroom. Amen. Give them the freedom, but inspect the bedroom. Inspect the bedroom. If it's a boy, you may be surprised nicotine has started coming into the house. Because our society, middle class and up, we have the vice of drugs, hardcore drugs, nicotine, heroin in our country. Anywhere. Why? Because the middle class and the upper class has a little bit of excess money that their children can end up being this. We talked about gambling on the phone, but there is also danger of drugs. In Area 47, where we used to stay somewhere this side, there was an open house, unfinished house, where teenagers would just constantly stay. Abscond, Peter School, you'll be thinking they have gone. And do you know what they started? Just codeine, cough mixture. Cough mixture. They will drink. These are teenagers. They'll be drunk. They'll be in a stupor. But it's there. So be watchful. Be watchful. At one time at Magu, we had this rampant of boys having codeine. You see a boy walking with a bottle of Fanta. Half Fanta. Akuchoka kubandilo, akuenda ndi Fanta. Fanta tsiti enda chonchoto. Tipa manizila pa table. You get the point. Be watchful, So you have a boy. This is an area. Don't say it's not the age. This is the age they're exposed to it. Sniffing glue. Then they start going into harder drugs. Be watchful. Be watchful. So yes, give them respect for their bedroom, but from time to time inspect their bedroom. You are the mentor. You are the one who is supposed to lead them. Finally, this circle that we began with, it was empty at the very beginning. I would want you to look at this. This is a value instilling circles. Value instilling circles. The family and essentially the parents are the most powerful mentors of children. The responsibility to lead, to grow, to direct, to lead is on your shoulders. Amen? It is on your shoulders. But because of busyness and busy life, we tend to put it on number 3, the school. We remove ourselves and we want the school to parent our children. Parenting is an aspect of the parent. So you as a parent take charge of the school. The thing that happened in America in the last 4 years is that the school took charge, started parenting children. And it is only through sheer determination that another block of the nation demanded, you can't parent my children without my permission. So the school will determine if your child is having what they call gender dysphoria. They'll bring a psychologist who will talk to this child and tell the child, no, you are a girl. But inside of you, the way you're feeling, you are a boy. So they even start transitioning without you knowing. Kuskulu. They start transitioning the child. But every child during their adolescence, they look like a bat. One day they feel like a yo-yo. The other time they feel like a tomboy. The other time they feel like, I wish I was a girl. They have all those things. The boy feels like, I'm all by myself. They'll go through those. But if you give it fire, that child will grow thinking that's what they are. But this was being done in school. So your child starts having hormonal drugs being given to him and you are not aware. You start, changing body-wise. He's a boy, starts looking like a girl. Because at school, he's been given a psychologist who is working with him. And you don't know anything about it. So parenting was given to the school. The books they will talk about, from kindergarten, they will talk about this gender stuff from kindergarten. I am they, I'm he, I'm she, I'm neither, I'm bisexual. From kindergarten. From kindergarten, in childhood, they'll talk about masturbation and they'll say it is okay. Why? Because the school took over as a parent. The parent is you. The parent is me. Purely responsible for parenting the child. And we would want to ask you to continue on that path you've been doing. And for now, maybe with a little bit of support from every one of us, we can be able to walk alongside you. The church is a secondary center for church would bring the values that are correct. I'm hoping you are going to a church that does not instill these wrong values. The church works with you. That's how the teen church at ICA in these 3 years now deliberately starting working with you. And as Dr. Zoe said, they can be able to have more times for parents and to work together. And also just you can be able also to invite them into your house if you feel that you need an extra hand of counsel, an extra hand of your girl who is really in her own world. Invite them so that they can walk together with you. Because the church means well. A good school, a Christian school may mean well. But again, the problem with a good school, there are more influences because at a school, the pressure is high. The peer pressure is high, too much at a school. So kids want to learn from others. Even at a Christian school, the peer pressure is huge, even at a Christian school. Do not underestimate that. Then finally, the society. We are hoping that at the time they are getting into the society, they have had values from the family, they have had great values from the church. Those two are our anchors. Amen? Because some of our children go to boarding schools, you will never trust their value system. We are hoping you as a parent at the home, you have given them support. And finally, the church has given them support. By the time they are reaching the school, they are strong, they can have an anchor back from where they have come from. The time they are growing, they have values that are well established. Well, Pastor Christine said so. Amen. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Pastor, for the powerful word. This time around, we'll go into a session whereby now we ask questions. Like Dr. Zoe said, one of the things at Teens Church, we ask questions. But this is so that you ask questions. And for the sake of those that are also watching online, the reality is we are living in a different generation altogether. So this is the time whereby we should really change the course of the history and put it on the right track. So at this moment, I will ask if you have questions to ask. And sometimes you can even ask for the sake of those that are watching online. So that our senior pastor can really tackle them. All right, so who will open up first?
I would like to learn how you balance up being a single parent with both children, boys and girls. How do you balance up being intentional to instill values, especially with regards to sexuality? How do you open up and feel free to talk through those issues with your boys that are 17, 18, and thereabout?
All right, thank you.
I'll be honest, it's not the easiest. But you'll have to put on a heart of a father and do it. You may do introductory stuff, koyambilila. You open up and you tell them, I know I am a lady, but we can talk over these issues. How do teachers do it in secondary school? They do. They'll talk about the whole anatomy. They'll talk about the whole biology. But it's a man talking even to girls. So we can be able to take on that heart as a teacher. But it is based on the basis that you are open. No, why do you say those things? But you'll have to keep on pushing until you have the right to speak, because they have to grant you that right. It's not easy. They have to grant. But that being granted is based on you've become friends. Come on, I'm your mother. We may bring in somebody to come and speak. But immediately you start always bringing somebody, they will never trust you. They will never think you've got anything to offer them. That's where the danger is. So even as a mother, be able to establish rules, and you begin. If you want extra, it's extra after you've already established something, you've said something. You may be beyond talking about drugs. So you may bring in somebody. But on the issues of sexuality, you can. And I would want to say that at the church, you can talk to pastors that can come and give extra. The mkalis can come and give extra. The people from the teens, they can come and give extra. I think that's one I think strength Pastor Gideon had. He was able to spot kids that their parents were single, and he would step in and challenge them. Now, by hindsight, I don't know whether he consulted their parents. But he always used to give counsel to those people that came from single moms or single dads. And would just step in and give them counsel. Yeah, but you are the first person to do it open the discussion. And if you think they have too many questions you cannot delve into, then you can be able to bring others. But do not shy away. I've just given you an example as a biology teacher. They can be able to do it. So there will be some things you may have to read more so that you speak with sense. So go study the anatomy of a boy and then give the understanding. He may laugh at you, but you are actually you are talking. You are bringing it up. The best thing is for your child to be open with you, to laugh with you, to joke with you. That's a key. If they are always by themselves, there could be some things that they are going through you may not be aware of. But if you can laugh, even if you talk about sex and you laugh over it, and you talk about drugs, you laugh over it, and the subject is well researched and talked about, it's okay. It's a beginning place. But you can be able to have extra thereafter. Thank you.
All right. So maybe we should do 2-2 or 1-2-2. Okay. Or just a comment. Okay.
Yeah, well, so I just want to add on what the pastor said. It's not easy to be a single mother and you're raising a boy, But then I think the first thing is to, the relationship should start at a tender age, when the child is very young. Like my son, I started building the relationship when he was very, very young. I started opening up with him. I told him that I'm your friend and your mother. There's no one who can love you more than me. So you have to listen to me. You have to tell me everything. So as he's growing, I'm finding it a bit easy to talk to him. I talk to him about sexuality. I talk to him about almost everything. And, to my surprise, he's now also opening up to me. Sometimes he tells me sensitive things that I never thought he would tell me. He will come and tell me. But it's because I started opening up first when he was a child. And also to add on that, I use the Bible. When I want to talk maybe about sexuality, I refer to the Bible. What does the Bible say about this issue? So when I refer to the Bible, it makes it easy for me, So timanyaziti jati machoka, because you'd say, this is what the Bible says. So, mwana ujaso amamvesesa kuti, it's like mayanga wasakunduza zolaula, he's just saying the word of God. So we have to refer to the Bible when we talk to our children, especially about sensitive things. Everything is in the Bible about sexuality, drugs, alcohol, name it, relationships and everything. So I think we also have just to refer to what the Bible says and start doing it at a very, very tender age. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Pastor, for the session. I wanted to ask about the use of phones. Now, as a parent, you're strict to the child in terms of what they can access on the phones. But in cases where the children are finding alternatives, like, for example, they go to the maid to get they go to the maid and then they access what is there on social media, or maybe they go even to friends and then they access all these things. I don't know how can one handle such situations. Thank you.
That's a tough one. Your child is too clever. But if it's at the house, let it be a general rule. Let your maid know. Because you are setting a general rule, everyone should know. This one, phone until Saturday. And Saturday, 2 hours or 3 hours. The maid should know. And if the maid is caught giving the phone, you rebuke her. Because it's a standard you've put. It says, Anapidi, as many as I have set this. You may be thinking you are helping the child, but you are destroying the child. He goes beyond kuina, those you may not control. Because if they go outside there, you may not control, you may not know. But if you continue just telling him and say, listen, this is help for you. It is just distracting you. It is taking time from you for school. You just establish. At the same time, some can give a child an hour of a phone every day. They come from school, here's a phone. Mama Lisa, the person phone. It's study time. Tomorrow, you'll get it also at 6 o'clock. Maybe around when you are eating, they get the phone, they do anything they want. And then, so you may have different rules, but it must be flexible enough for them to know that you're trying really. Mommy, mango take a phone. You laugh over it. No, it's good for you. I know today I'm a bad person. So you just continue to do it. But the phone, I'll be honest with you, is very destructive. A lot of us, children are failing in school, especially those in non-residential, are struggling in school, even at universities. They are struggling. And it is also messing up productivity in workplaces. It's very destructive. Last week, for those who are married, we talked about contending for your marriage. And one reason for divorces, this is from South Africa, well documented, overindulgence on social media platforms. So phones have taken over our lives, and they're very destructive. So we need just to be aware, and as a parent, be vigilant. Thank you.
All right. Do you have any more? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The issue to do with privacy. I think I'm personally struggling with that. Where do we draw the line? Because, like for my son, he likes locking himself up in the bedroom. And when I'm trying to help him with his homework, he says, "Oh, mommy, just let me be. I've got this covered." So where do we draw the line? I understand that I have to respect the privacy, but then when do I step in? All right? The other thing was to do with sex and sexuality. I can't lie that I'm really struggling to actually deal with that subject, being a boy and me being a lady. I understand that boys and girls, the level of maturity is a little different. Girls mature faster than boys. Like my son personally, he's 13, but at the age of 11, he didn't really understand this. Like one time, okay, how can I put it? He didn't know what virginity means. So he was coming to me to tell me that, "Oh, Mom, I feel sorry for virgins. They've never experienced love." So I asked to say, "Are you a virgin?" So he says, "No, I'm not. Mommy, you love me. My dad loves me. Everybody loves me. So I've experienced love. So I'm not a virgin." You understand? So me talking about like sexuality, I was feeling like maybe it's not age appropriate. So I didn't know when to actually talk about it. And also him being a boy, me being a girl, I didn't know how to handle it. Of course, now he's 13, at least we talk, but still it's not a very comfortable subject. So how do we do it?
It's not a comfortable subject, but you are the parent, so you'll have to become an expert on topics that are not comfortable. But when your son starts locking himself in the bedroom, those could be danger signs. Do not leave it under the carpet. Could be many things that are happening. It could be mood swings, yes. You may have to just start getting more friendly to him and telling him, "We'll do homework at the dining, not in your bedroom. We'll do homework at the dining. Let's sit, let me see your work." Like I said, give them private time, but search their rooms. Search their rooms. From time to time, you'll have to maybe to say, "We're going to sweep the room together." or you sweep the room without him being there. Those are significant moments. You may be thinking, is everything's covered? Not everything is covered. It could be, and I'm not talking about your son, it could be indulging in pornography. I'm telling you, it's on the phone. I still remember one of my sons. I had come with a magazine from, I picked a magazine, Times Magazine, Amsterdam airport, and bought, came with it home, and very mundane topics that were there. But there was a discussion in Times Magazine about sex. And my son, the last one, got it. But this is a public magazine, Times Magazine. But it threw him off. It threw him off so much that he, even in talking about it, he didn't even tell me, there's a topic in the magazine about, he just opened the topic, the magazine, and pointed at it, you know. And I knew, oh, this is now new territory. We need to discuss this. So for me, I don't even know where those small booklets are. When my daughter was about 9, I bought 2 books about a girl knowing her body, and then son also bought a boy knowing her body, and became part of our discussion point. So if it's very difficult, go get a biology book. Let it be the discussion point. Whether you like it or not, they teach about anatomy and biology. They'll talk about the whole private parts of a boy. So, Sunny, come, let's sit here. Tell me about this subject. It becomes an entry point. So find a way to have an entry point into that difficult subject. It is difficult when it's across different sexes. It's difficult, but push yourself. Bring in your husband into discussion about it, but push yourself over it. If the husband is not part of the household, bring him to discuss it. Yeah, bring him. If the husband or the divorced, talk to him about it. Our son is going through this. We need to talk about this. Very, very important. If you are a man, you're divorced, bring in the lady to talk to the girls. Can we discuss this issue? Because this child must be raised up with a wholesome understanding of some of these subjects. So yes, you'll have to begin somewhere. You have to begin somewhere. It's tough, but begin somewhere. And the normal way for me is really a biology subject. Because an apple's in a Gaelic school. Yes. For me, my sons, I'll tell them, be careful. You know, you can produce a child, though. I start from there. You are old enough to produce a child, so don't bring me a child here when you are not ready. No, daddy, no, daddy. Then we talk. We have one son now in the house who is just 20 years old now. And he was a slow bloomer rather. So, but we talk subjects, and he's very free with me, so we talk about these subjects. But it is easier. Some of the issues, you may talk with the mother, but it's freer more with me. But we talk about those issues. They are not easy for him. They are easier for me. Maybe because I'm a preacher, so I tend to have a little bit freedom to talk about these subjects. Amen. Thank you.
Sorry, I forgot one more thing. Now, about peers. Like, my son is comfortable chatting with both boys and girls. How do I balance that? Because sometimes he says, I've been invited to a friend birthday party who's a girl, and sometimes I'm not very comfortable, but he seems to be okay chatting with boys and girls. How do I handle that? Thank you.
Mothers, can you help me? How do we answer Our Lady?
in our time, we used to be taught that there's no way a boy can be friends with a girl, but not that they can chat. But the meaning was like there's only a certain amount of chatting that you can do with a girl. You can't go beyond this level. So you can just say maybe if you can talk in public places. You cannot be alone, like where it's just the two of you. You can talk to girls where there are other people, parents, friends, and they're like, make sure you don't confine yourselves to a place where it's just...
And give the reasons for it.
Yes.
Tell him, you can become horny and sleep. Tell them.
On that one, Pastor, I have a daughter.
Uh-huh.
She's in the teen church. So she wrote me a letter. You know, Mommy, I love you so much. You've taught me the word of God. I'm a Christian, blah, blah, blah. But one thing, you're very strict with boys. But I have so many boys who are my friends, so I want to be visiting them. I want them to be coming here. If you say no, it means you don't trust me. So really, it's been...
Tell them that that's blackmail. When you tell me that if they don't come, then you don't trust me, tell them it's a blackmail. Tell them the body has nothing to do with trust. At this teenage, the sexual growth is exploding, and they want to test it. So you just tell them, listen, when you continue being in private with this person, the time you realize you are zipping up, tell them it is too late. So tell them, I am protecting you. So group activities are very good instead of one-by-one activities. So if they want to really socialize, let them socialize in a group activity, a church, a camp, fellowship, teens church. Let them fellowship there and socialize. Yes, there is need for socializing for these teens because they are impacted more by peers than us. They're impacted, they get their lessons from peers. But let them socialize together. But when they say, no, if you do this, then you don't trust me, tell them, this has nothing to do with trust. We don't evaluate trust based on this. Tell them, I trust you, but your body may not trust you. Thank you so much, I think.
Okay.
The last one, eh? And yours.
I also just wanted to add a little something to the conversation on invitations. So I know that sometimes things can get extra even in a group setup. Mm-hmm. Because especially those teens that are going to the universities nowadays, you find that they have organized a sex party. Sure. So it's someone's birthday and they're having a group sex party in the campus and they're having fun and all those. So we come across those stories, and so it's also important to, like we're saying, instilling values for them to judge, to instill those spiritual awakening in them, to say they'll be alert, to say, I can stay in this place and it is okay with my conscience, or I can't, and be able to leave. So we may feel it's just a birthday party, but there is more to a birthday party. So that's why it's also important to connect with parents of friends to our children, those who are really close. We need to know who are they, what's their belief system and all that, so that when we're consenting, they also know that mom would say yes to this when this applies. Mm-hmm. And when they go outside home, they'll be able to use those things and make judgment around the same issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now the last part of this, we invite Dr. Zoe to just come in and also share some issues so that the senior pastor and the parents maybe now we go more practical, like now how do we help our teens? Maybe some of the issues that maybe the teens go through but they don't share with the parents, but at least they have been open enough with the teachers from this. So
Thank you so much. We wanted to take this opportunity with just the parents. We separated the kids for a reason, because there's some issues that our young people came to us with or come to us with that of course we couldn't say, all right. We couldn't say while they were here, but there are issues that are definitely ongoing and need wisdom even from our pastor here. So some of the things that we wanted our parents to be aware of that our teens are going through. Number one, I'm sure our pastor has addressed this, but was the issue of social media. We're in a generation where almost all our teenagers have phones, which is okay, which is great, and you buy them really nice phones, iPhone 16, 15, which is okay. But the problem with that is their access to social media. A lot of our teens are on platforms like TikTok, which they're on TikTok all night instead of studying. They're on platforms like Facebook, Instagram. They're watching things there. They're getting addicted to things there. We are blessed because our young people are very open with us. For some of us, maybe the statuses that you may not see, we're able to see because they trust us to see them. But when we see them, we get concerned. I was talking to Mike Kali about one of my teens in the church whose statuses are often very sexual related statuses, and it concerns me. Of course, he's new to the church, and we've been talking with him, we've been interacting. But social media is a big challenge. What I'd like to suggest, especially to the parents, for those teens that don't necessarily need to have a phone right now, I would advise they should not have a phone right now. I know there are some schools, for example, if maybe in first year, second year, obviously they have to. If they're in college, they have to. There are some schools that maybe give them e-books, e-platforms. Those, maybe if they can be accessed maybe via a laptop or something, but not a phone. One of the issues that we also struggled with is we have a lot of teens that are exploring relationships, boy-girl relationships. And most of the time, their communications are on their phone. There was one specific example, of course, unfortunately, the parent is not here, but it's a girl who has been struggling with her school. Actually, right now, I think is also repeating a class, and we had talked that she needs to get off the phone, get off social media, and just focus on her studies. But then the parent ended up buying them a new and better phone. So it feels like we're not giving our children something good that they want. And I know as parents, maybe we want to make them happy. But I think looking more into their future, it is best to allow certain things to not be there for the sake of their future. I still haven't spoken to that parent because I was a bit hesitant after that, but I think that's something that we're struggling with. That's the first thing. The second thing we're actually seeing in our teenagers is actually substance abuse. So we've had several of our teenagers